Hello, everyone, and welcome to another elite episode of the Get Authentic with Marques show. I'm your host, Marques Ogden. On today's episode, we are joined by Mr. Sam Pepin. But before we get Sam to the stage, I want to thank one of our amazing sponsors, Tactical Harmony. Tactical Harmony is a consulting brand owned by Miss Rebecca Fitzsimmons. It is a leadership brand, and she is a phenomenal keynote speaker, consultant, and workshop facilitator. We thank Tactical Harmony and Rebecca Fitzsimmons for sponsoring this episode. Now, here he is. Sam, how you doing today, Sam?
Doing great. What about you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you. Sam, first question. What does the word authentic/authenticity mean to you?
Hmm, Great question. To me, authenticity is we're all unique, and I suppose this is very cliche, but the way I see uniqueness and why it is so important perhaps to be authentic is because we are all across our life, the experience we gather, the failures, the success, all of that combined basically makes a completely unique mix. And therefore, when you present that mix with an angle that is, I suppose, um, insightful, people get enlightened by that. I think we live in a world now, there's a lot of copycats, and therefore when you bring your full package, which is completely unique because of what I mentioned, that makes it so much more attractive. And that's what authenticity means, is not hiding your I suppose your failures, and also and heightening your strength and successes.
You know something, Sam? I like what you said about so many people are always trying to be copycats. They're always trying to do what others are doing. They're trying to look at that person. Hey, look what they're doing. I should try that. Hey, look at them, what this doing. I want to go and do that. The problem is when you start trying to copycat everybody, you lose who you truly are. And if you lose who you truly are, right, my friend, at some point, it's going to end up where you're just going to end up running out of gas. You're going to say you're just going to get, flat line, and you're just going to be burnt out and so tired trying to live a life that you know that you can't sustain. What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. First and foremost, I was having this conversation with my co-founder this morning, actually, so that's very interesting. I think we now live in a society, because of the interconnectiveness of of what we do, that most people unfortunately live for others, and it's a very unique moment in history of mankind now, because now that we are sort of at highlight reel that we see on social media, a lot of people, like you said, are going this route of trying to enable themselves through fake accomplishments, but even worse, probably taking sort of this route where they are not themselves at all. They are basically who they think the world is expecting them to be, as Carl Jung would say. And I think that is one of the worst things that can be in your life, because if your goal are not yours, what's even the point of achieving them?
Ladies and gentlemen, if the goals aren't yours, what is the point of even trying to achieve them? That is absolutely brilliant. Sam, please tell us more about Corecentrica, you and your partner, because you're a co-founder and the CEO. Talk to our global audience about what is Corecentrica, what do you all do, and how did you all come up with the great idea of finding this company?
Yeah. Well, a little bit by myself, I suppose. This is my second company. I'm a 20-year-old gentleman. So I had my first company when I was 17. I built an algorithmic that served the SMEs market to be matched in real time with an agency that would match their needs, so budgets, timelines, requirements of the project, and therefore had my hands very full with the data-driven world, which I absolutely adore. But what I found, Marcus, is, and coming back a little bit to the authenticity portions, as we speak right now, if you use the exact same tools as everybody else in the exact same way, and your input is very similar to each other, your output is going to be very similar to each other. And unfortunately, in the world of business developments and marketing, novelty and uniqueness is so important. So I was on the lookout to find a process in which I can humanize, perhaps customize those pieces of data that we're able to retrieve to help companies on a customized basis. And I had the pleasure to do that alongside two co-founders, one that recently passed away, J.W. Wilson, and I wish that obviously is soul rest in peace, and the other one, which is Peter Headley, which is our creative co-founder. And Corecentrica stand as a full marketing agency that enables a model called meaningful marketing, where we bridge the data-driven initiatives that we had in my previous company, pair it with neuroscience. We have our proprietary neuroscience called the Code24, and our objective is to help company in first a consultancy model where we identify the gaps of why they're not getting to their objectives, come back with those points of data, humanize those points of data through our neuroscientific models, and create custom growth plans in which we enable our team to be deployed and implement them on a customized basis for our worldwide audience. And this company was funded to two things. One, bring some formality to an industry that unfortunately lacks authenticity, probably where there's most liars, which I'm very sad to say that, but it's definitely the truth. And two, it was to finally be able to concretize a model in which is not relying on the spray and pray and I suppose throwing spaghetti at the wall, which you see so many others, I suppose, in this industry doing. So it's a quantifiable but customizable way of growing your enterprise.
You know what I really like about this whole process, right, Sam? It is quantifiable, it is customizable. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to work with someone, right, to help you grow your business, if they can quantify or basically prove with data that this is going to be the best road for you, that's a big win. Second big win is someone says, I have created this customizable approach for you based off the data I have gained or gathered from you. Now you're talking about someone that has spent time and has taken the time to create for you your own specific blueprint to get you where you want to go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's all about in business. You want to choose people to work with that can create something that is customizable, that's unique for you. So Sam, this is fantastic. What is a great, I call SCP? What is a great strong customer profile for you? Who is that you love to work with when it comes to Corecentrica?
Fantastic. We have primarily two audience. The first one is startup founders, in which has just raised a pre-round or a Series A of funding. Those are fantastic because there's funds in which can be deployed very, very uniquely through our formula. The second one, which is about 70% of our contracts, are mid-sized companies. So typically, right in that basically 5 to 25 millions, typically around 25 to 50 employees, where basically you have marketing departments and you're looking to basically enhance it and amplify it with a third-party vendors like we are to be able to not only be able to see what is, but also make sure that we, I suppose, streamline and spearhead what needs to be for your objective to be accomplished. Our three biggest industry are wellness being first. About 40% of our clients are in wellness. Then it's tech, and then it's finance. And we serve currently 11 countries. We have 6 languages that are directly speak by our team. We were just serving a German client actually earlier this morning. So we have an international lookout on what we do, and this also gives us a global audience and therefore global reach for your projects.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love this because if you're going to try to scale something and grow something, you might as well go global because at the end of the day, as long as people you are looking to work with can communicate with you and understand you and can apply what you're saying, then everybody can use your product. So for example, right, Sam, we just got booked to speak in Antigua, Guatemala in September of next year. This will be my first trip to Latin America for a speaking engagement. It's a huge, it's called the Volcano Summit. Very excited about it. They had about 2,500 people come this year from 36 different countries to Guatemala, Antigua for this amazing conference. And I'm so excited because it gives us a chance to get our product and our brand out on a global scale, right? In a large audience. And so that is the key of marketing. And that's what Sam does with Corecentrica. He's marketing, help you create a plan to get your product and or service in front of your SCP, your strong customer profile. Sam, let's dig in. So many people really think that sales and marketing are the exact same thing. And you and I both know that's a load of hogwash. Can you explain to people from your perspective as an expert, as an individual that is in the space, what is marketing and how is it different from sales?
Yeah, fantastic question, Marcus. Obviously, those two departments need to be as linked as possible because that is what will acquire a customer. Now, how we define marketing though is the necessary steps in which are basically possible for somebody to get interested in your product or your service. So let me give you a clear example. For example, we sell marketing basically contracts for everything that we're doing, from social media posting, from advertisements, from even PR. Those are marketing elements. Those are ways in which this podcast, for example, that's a marketing element. Your goal is now to see my brand, my perhaps who I am and how I discuss perhaps these ideas so you can trust me. So marketing is a trust enabler. Marketing is a way to utilize different channels. Multi-channels is definitely the way to go these days, to be able to create a touch point sequence in which will be necessary for you to have a chance to sell the other party. Now, this is the difference. Marketing is anything that is necessary before you have the selling conversation. That selling conversation is what sell is. So there's, for the same reason why you have a marketing department and a sales departments, you want the marketing departments to generate interest, generate leads, as we call them, obviously in our industry, to basically find a way to funnel them down to the sales departments, which is going to close those leads. So those things are separate, though with technology and this hybrid life that we're currently living through systems and AI agents and so on, which maybe we can get into, is definitely something that is getting closer and closer to each other, which is a great thing. You will do so, and if not, we can definitely help you do so. But in this case, that is marketing and selling. Selling is actually collecting money out of an individuals for your service or products. Marketing is anything before then to get their interest.
Ladies and gentlemen, marketing is doing all types of acts, all types of touch points, all types of different platforms in order to get people aware about your product and or service before they decide to potentially buy what you are quote unquote selling and or offering. And I tell people, marketing is way more important than sales. I say, well, Marcus, why? Why is that? Well, because if people don't know you exist, they can't buy you. People
Yep.
aren't just going to show up and fall into your lap and buy something from you, especially if you're selling something of a large dollar amount or a large offer. People are just going to spend $5,000, $10,000 on this. For example, right, Sam? That's how I got hired by the awesome people from Volcano Summit to do the job for them in September in Antigua, Guatemala next year. One of my clients, Patrick Moore, who is the former chief marketing officer of Google, is my coaching client. I had him on my podcast because somebody in my network connected me and Patrick. I was on Patrick's podcast. He was on my podcast. Patrick hired me to be his coach. And so now I coach him. Patrick spoke at this conference earlier this year and told the people that run the conference, you should hire my coach to come and speak at your event. We had a call today and they made the offer and I accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's all about. I tell people without our podcast, without what we have, our brand is not as successful, well-known because it is an excellent marketing tool. Sam, you talked about touch points. There's an awesome study that I read. 44% of sales happen after the fourth touch point. But 80% of people in sales, especially in industries like insurance, they quit after the first touch point if they don't get the sale. Please talk about that around those two data points. 44% of sales happen after the fourth touch point. And why do you feel that 80% of people in sales end up just quitting after the first contact point if they don't get the sale?
Two things on this, Marcus. The first thing is you're absolutely right. Actually, that number keeps increasing. So you want to understand, your audience need to understand that in a world as busy as the one that we are, marketing fundamentally changed exactly for that reason. It changed because now the buyer is more informed than ever and will inform itself way more because they have the tools to do so before committing to any purchase. So two things on this. It depends on your industry. We serve the wellness space where it can get upwards of an average of 8 touch points before basically converting a potential customer specifically on the B2B side. Without getting too technical on this, I'll try to be surface level to answer your question. The Let's take the business of insurance, for example. To me, what a great person does, great salesperson does, that one that isn't, is perseverance. It's this concept called delayed gratification. Now, Marcus, you're an athlete. You understand that very well. I was an athlete my whole life as well. So anyone that go to the gym once and think they're going to be having bigger bicep, unfortunately doesn't understand how life works. So very much you want to see it as the same thing. You want to see it as entertaining, what we call nurturing, perhaps in the marketing world, those relationships, because it's ever been this hard to convert a client. Why? Because there's never been this much options to the potential buyers that you're seeking. So that is fundamentally why a multi-channel approach is so important these days. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you want your presence to be felt across a multimedia plan. That's why podcasting is so powerful. We had Marcus on our own show. It's going to be published in a few weeks, actually. The reason why is because people are now seeing you. People are now liking you. And I heard this from Russell Brunson, which I'm sure your audience is very familiar. What you want to understand is people, and Seth Godin talked about this a lot, not only buy basically what you have to offer, but they buy who they are buying from. They buy who you are as an individual. And that is more and more important if you're in a service-based business, where again, you might be the face of your company, and therefore you need to be a worthy one. That being said, as we understand that, two things that are very important. One, it is exceptionally important to tell your marketing people that right now, if your strategy consists of only paid advertisement with any retargeting, you're burning money. As we speak right now, you are burning money for two reasons. The first one is because those paid advertisement will probably not touch them enough for them to make a decisions. And two, it's getting increasingly more expensive to do so. So go the organic creator route, be the one in which gives the most value to the marketplace in order to extract the most value out of the marketplace. For your salespeople, tell them one thing and one thing only. The gold mine is in the follow-up. Is it possible for one to convert on the spot? It is. That is most likely than not less than 8% of the people that you talk with. That being said, there's a huge range of more people, typically around a third of them, that are actually prone to buy, but will need more convincing to do so. So tell your salespeople to keep upon following up, doing so obviously in a moral and virtuous manner. We don't want to be spammy, but doing so will help you increase your close rates and also increase the likelihood of trust in your SCP, as Mr. Marcus calls it. I call it ICP, but he calls it SCP, so I'll use that.
Well, I like that. A lot of people like to use ICP, and I think because of the fact I hear it so much, I want to call it something different, but it's the exact same thing. And I tell people all the
Yes.
time, the big thing for individuals that listen to the show, they have to have the courage to be bold. And I use an acronym BISON, right, Sam? Boldness, integrity, self-awareness, ownership, never quit. I tell people in marketing, if you blend in, you're not standing out. If you're
Yep.
blending in, you're not doing what you need to do, because what happens is you need to stand out in order to have people know, right, who you are. And you said it best. people have so many options now today. You gotta stand out. Please, that's my last question. How do you in Corecentrica help your clients be bold, be innovative, and be out of the box thinking on how to stand out with their marketing through your help?
Absolutely. First things first, coming back to it, we want to understand the marketplace. Once you understand the marketplace, you then understand what the trends are and perhaps why those trends worthy of following or not following. Again, being outside thinkers. That's the first thing. The second thing is through our proprietary neuroscience, which I invite you to corecentrica.com to basically be able to retrieve more of those selling informations and that science information, which can be getting a little bit technical if you only hear me say this for the first time. Our goal will be unionizing this point of data to understand from your point of view, from who you want to be and become as an enterprise, what is the most worthy plan of action to have to ensure that you can stand out? Is that to have your own podcast? Is that to basically be more heavy on PR? Is that to be more present on social media through nurturing content? All of those things can be worthy, but are they worthy not only right now, but are they worthy for you? That is the question you should ask yourself. The truth is, in marketing, there's a lot of ways to get to Rome, but for your company to get to Rome the quickest, the most effectively, and the most, I suppose, efficiently from a money perspective, Corecentrica is a company you want to seek to be able to get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love this because Sam is talking about a lot of different things, how to stand out and not blend in, how to have a customizable approach to get your, as he calls it, ICP, or I call it SCP, an ability to have a blueprint that works for you and gets you where you want to go. That's big. All these things are so important. They're so valuable. And I love what he said at the end about doing it in the most cost-effective way to get a great ROI on your investment.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. You're going to have to invest into your business. But again, make sure for people like Sam that have a plan to take you from where you are to where you want to be. That's the key. Sam, great interview today. How can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more information about you and or Corecentrica?
Absolutely. So I'm very active on the LinkedIn platforms. You can type in Sam Pepin. I will be the first one with a red background that matches this background that I have on Zoom right now. Corecentrica.com is our website. Sam@corecentrica.com is my email. Those are by far the best ways to reach out to us. Our team will be with you in the next typically a few hours of an email going in, maximum 24. And obviously, a great place to learn about all of this is through all the media that we're doing. We have a great podcast we'll be able to retrieve directly on our sites. And I suppose just to finish this, in being very much aligned with the message of this podcast, I want you to remember that you are unique for the exact reason that we discussed on this podcast. Your company is, and therefore your marketing needs to be. Go the customized route, go above and beyond to position yourself as number one in the marketplace and reap the results.
Fantastic. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a PSA or a pitch for Sam, but one of my clients, Coach Sandy Cohen, is going to be working with Sam and Corecentrica. We chat about that this morning on our call. So again, people in my network that I serve and that are our clients are seeing the value in Sam. So it's fantastic to hear such great feedback from my client, Coach Cohen. He's going to be working with Sam and his partner and his awesome team as well. We want to thank Tactical Harmony for sponsoring this amazing episode. And the authentic tip of this great interview, I'm going to keep it real simple. When it comes to growing your business and marketing your business, if you're blending in, you're doing it wrong. You want to stand out in a crowded space. Again, you want to stand out in a crowded space. You don't want to blend in marketing. You want to stand out. Again, my name is Marques Ogden. I am the host of the Get Authentic with Marques show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.